couple of weeks away as the team is starting to ramp up for its game, or its opening night game, in just a little bit. So we got a reaction last night from the Bruins game, and of course the Patriots on the road this week in New Orleans, and that's where we will start tonight with our opening take, which is presented by who? Well, it doesn't say it's presented by anyone at the moment, so we'll just let it ride, baby. It's presented by me. Opening take, of course, that was what we usually do them every night, but you know what my opening take is? Trap game. It's real. It's real, everybody. I've been saying it for weeks, and now we have more time as we get along here. I think it's a trap game. So just think about this for a little bit. It's Friday night, game's on Sunday. We saw the Saints lose to the Bills. Then the Patriots beat the Bills. So then the Saints, what do? They beat the Giants. What do the Giants do? They beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Right? So how funny is it to lose to the Saints if you're a Giants fan and then beat the Eagles in the same week? It's very interesting. So you could argue the Eagles and Bills are the two best teams in football. So I think the Saints played the Bills tough. Maybe the Bills are a little bit on a look ahead there. I've been saying this all week. It's hard to win back-to-back games on the road in the NFL. It's hard to win back-to-back games in general, but this team will be facing the second of consecutive road games, and they'll play their third next week against the Titans, and you know there's revenge on the mind for the Titans and Mike Vrabel for that matter. So the Patriots, in the 7 seasons that they've played 3 road games in 3 consecutive weeks, in the first game, they're 6-1 as far as just winning and 6-1 against the spread. Now, in that game when they're underdogs, which they were last week, 5-1 against the spread. So, boom, covered that one. In game 2, they're 3-3 on the money line and 2-4 against the spread. As a favorite, which they are this week, 3-2 on the money line, 2-3 against the spread. They were an underdog once. So that's why I'm saying trap game. Now, I'll just bring this up one more time. In game 3, which would be next week, they're 2-4 on the money line, 2-4 against the spread. I bet they're favorites next week, too, even if they win or lose. And in that situation, they're 1-3. So of those 3 scenarios, of the 3 road games in 3 consecutive weeks, generally it's the third game that they have lost. More often than not, because there's only so many opportunities that it's happened. The Patriots are coming off their biggest victory in years. They just upset the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football. It was the coming out party. But now Mike Vrabel and his team, they have to somewhat avoid the complacency, avoid the noise. They still have to improve. And they're taking on a Saints team that's coming off its first win. The Saints also boast a new head coach, right? Kellen Moore, we all know him, former Boise State quarterback, was really good with the Dallas Cowboys for years and has been somewhat of a, head coach candidate and now has it. So Spencer Rattler, coming out of Oklahoma at the time, was a high recruit. He got beat out for the job by Caleb Williams. He went to South Carolina, and he was pretty solid overall. I didn't have high expectations of him in the NFL, but since being named the starter, he's somewhat had some success, I'll say. I don't want to use the word promising, but he's been successful. But he's led with 2 dynamic running backs, right? Guys who can catch the ball, they're feisty, they're smart, and they can lean on a veteran-laden defense. They're a very competitive team. They have 1 possession losses this year to the Cardinals, the 49ers. That was just the first 2 games of the year. Last week, they had a comeback win against the Giants, and they went toe-to-toe with the Buffalo Bills. Really, they lost that game in the 4th quarter. New Orleans has been super competitive, well coached. They excel at protecting the football. They also can take it away. They're tied for 5th in the NFL in +5 turnover differential. The Patriots, well, they're just trying to get out of the negative due to fumbles this year from their backfield and missed opportunities on the defensive end. The Patriots are a better team. They have a better quarterback, they have a better defense, and they have a better coach. All those things are true. But the running game for the Saints has been really good. The Patriots have one of the best run defenses through 5 weeks in Patriots history and one of the best in the NFL this year. Okay, the NFL's second leading rusher is James Cook. He was held to 49 yards just a week ago, and the Bills' run game really didn't register a run over 10 yards or more. So that's going to be tested this week with Alvin Kamara, who I think is questionable, and Keandre Miller, who is really just taking over that role. I've talked about him all week long. I've said Keandre Miller 5 times, 6 times this week, and I'm going to double down on it tonight. We all know who Alvin Kamara is, right? But he's 30 years old. He has the 11th most explosive runs amongst running backs in the NFL this year. The other one is Derrick Henry, by the way. So when you look at that, he's still putting up those type of numbers. And as far as a player, he's third in yards after contact per rush. So he's averaging just over 4.4 yards after contact. So really the question's going to be Spencer Rattler. One thing I'll tell you about him is he's got great mobility, right? He ranks first at quarterback in rushing success this year, okay? And that's actually rushing yards for the quarterback. He's been pretty good 72% of the time in rushing success setup situations he's converted. He's been very good. That's 5 attempts on that. He's a pocket passer, but he can do a lot with his legs, and he's a part of their running game. And over the last 2 games, he's put up some pretty good numbers. They have to find a way to stop the run and let Spencer Rattler beat them. The Patriots were great at last week at holding both Cook and Josh Allen. They were a little open to the pass. We don't know yet the status of Christian Gonzalez yet. The pass defense has been better. If they're without him, though, what type of team are you going to see? As for the Saints defense, they're veteran laden. You'll know the names when you see it. They don't get a lot of pressure, though. They blitz a ton. They're ranked 10th in the NFL this year in blitz rate. And what did Drake May do last week against the blitz? He shredded the Buffalo Bills. So that's a recipe for disaster when it comes to the Saints. I wonder if they don't do that this week based off what Drake May did last week on the run and with his legs. So just a couple of things to add here. The offensive line, I think, has an advantage when it comes to the blitz situations, or maybe the fact that they won't blitz. New England has allowed the league's 4th lowest pressure rate and 10th fewest knockdown rate. I didn't know that. Looking into these numbers today. New England ranks, though, amongst the worst running games in football. 95 yards per game, 3.7 yards per rush. Can that improve this week for the Patriots? So we'll have more coming up in just a little bit. But it's hard to come off that type of big win on the road and go back out on the road and win. This is the game where coaching matters. I think it's going to be the difference on Sunday. I'll leave it at this, though. The Patriots are 3-point favorites. That line is sat at 3 points all week long. It hasn't moved at all. The status of Christian Gonzalez is going to move that line. So if he doesn't play, it's going down to 2.5. It will favor New Orleans. And if he does play, I bet you it sits just at the 3. I think it's a bait line as far as people who don't look at the intangibles. And what I mean by the intangibles, the Patriots are still a young team that's trying to get better every week. Can they win? They've won back-to-back games. Can they win 3 in a row? I don't know. Can they win back-to-back games on the road? I don't know. So it's almost an unknown to me, to a point where I can't bet on them this week. This is why I say it's a trap game. I can't bite the cheese. The cheese is there. The trap is set. The Patriots are the better team. It's just hard for me to back them this week. 617-779-0985. I do want to take a look at some of the numbers here. Patriots on the road. Their schedule, by the way, which read a report today regarding that thing. We'll dive deep into the schedule. We got more on the Patriots as they're on the road this week. Jambalaya, baby! Take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
after the game tonight. So I guess we'll have to find a place for our YouTube chat to go. I'll work on that. I'm going to work on that, chat. Maybe I'll set up like some sort of place that you guys can all go and hang out while the game's on and react to it. So we'll work on that. But we're talking Patriots tonight. I gave some of the numbers of why I think it's a trap game and why I actually like. I shouldn't say I like the Saints this week, but I like their team. Like when I look at it, you guys know the names. Brandon Cooks, you'll know Chris Olave is one of the, better wide receivers in the league. Rashid Shaheed, though, they have three receivers that you need to be worried about. So this is why the Christian Gonzalez thing is really big this week. It's not even that. Cooks can still run. Shaheed is a big playmaker, and Olave is probably going to go on Carlton Davis from the size standpoint. So, or I assume. I don't know how they'll play it. Now, they have no tight end game. The Patriots have generally struggled against tight ends, but they do play Taysom Hill there. Taysom Hill can do a lot of things. He'll play quarterback. He can run the ball in short yardage situations. He can line up as a tight end. I'm sure they will use him. They will use him. And I think they'll find a spot for him to make a big play. He's that type of player. I don't want to overrate who Taysom Hill is. He's a former college quarterback who can play the position in the NFL, but he's just more of a football player than he is a quarterback. But he's still someone you need to watch when he's on the football field. But when it comes to their defense, right, they got Devon Godshaw. You guys remember him. He's pretty good against the run, right? Chase Young sounds like he's going to play this week. So we'll see what he can do against Will Campbell, who's in his return home. And they have guys that like Demario Davis has been in the league for a really long time. Pete Warner, a guy who was a second-round pick, stud from a couple of years ago. Kool-Aid McKinstry is one of the better corners now in the league. He's coming along. Like, they are a team with Kellen Moore that's progressing. They're in the same shape that the Patriots are in. Although I think the Patriots have a quarterback and a coach. That should be the difference, right? It should be. The line's still 3, everybody. Looking at the numbers and the schedule, the Patriots have an easier road than the rest of the league. The next 6 opponents have a combined 9-20 record. New Orleans, Cleveland, Tampa Bay, Tennessee, Atlanta, and the 0-5 Jets. Aaron Shadd's had this today, the chief analytics officer at FTN Fantasy. Big stats guy, big DVOA guy. He says it's not just about the next 6 games. He goes, it's only been 5 games, but to show you how historic this season has been for Drake May, and he just mentioned the numbers regarding Drake May and what he's done. His first 5 games, he's doing things that's never been done before, at least as part of the Patriots go in their history. Prior to the Buffalo game, the projected 2025 schedule for the Patriots was the 3rd easiest since 1978. Last week, a number of teams on the Patriots schedule had bad losses, especially the Ravens. Now their opponents average minus 17% DVOA, which should be the easiest schedule since 1978 by a wide margin. It would surpass the 1991 Bills and the 1999 Rams, who currently have the 2 easiest schedules since 1978. Historically, almost all those teams measured since 1978, they've all reached the playoffs. Think about that for a second. Every team with that type of advantage when it comes to their schedules made the playoffs. So if we want to look at a historical sense, the 1998 Arizona Cardinals, or were they St. Louis? I forget what they were then. That's the model. They came off a 4-win season. In 97, Arizona rode a historically easy schedule the rest of the way. Their young quarterback, Jake Plummer, with a great mustache like Skaz, led them to a 9-7 record in a surprise playoff berth. The Cardinals also shocked the Cowboys 20-7 in the wild card round this year before losing in the divisional playoffs to the Vikings 41-21. The 2025 Patriots would welcome the chance to go from a 4-win team to the postseason, just as Arizona did 27 years ago. Drake May is on a pace to become the third player since Mahomes and Marino in history to average at least 250 passing yards per game with a passer rating of 105 or higher. Think about that stat for Drake May. Marino and Mahomes? May? What? Here's another one that I got today that I thought was pretty juicy. According to The Athletic, the Patriots playoff prediction model has the Patriots having a 77% chance at the postseason. As of today, the Patriots have a 77% chance of making the postseason. Do people see how important Sunday night's game was? It put the Pats on the map. People now look at their schedule as the easiest since 1978. They now think they have a 77% chance of going to the playoffs. Their quarterback is doing things that hasn't been done since Dan Marino and Patrick Mahomes. Like, whoa! I'm not the pump your brakes kind of guy. But this is why you play the games. The betting line has been 3 all week long. The look ahead was the Patriots slightly favored. They were favored, I want to say, in 7 games. This was one of them. This was one of them. I can't tell you enough. Winning an emotional game against your divisional opponent on the road on a Sunday night and going right back on the road against a non-conference opponent with a look-ahead game the next week about the head coach and his former team. If you don't want to call it a trap, can you call it a look-ahead spot? This game is important for the Patriots. It's important to live up to how easy that schedule is. It's important to live up how much they're progressing. It's important to live up that they can be a team from 27 years ago with this type of schedule to make the same run to the postseason and potentially win a game. That's all on the table for them. And I got to give a shout out to our good friend, Dan Shaughnessy. Dan checking in. The Patriots aren't there quite yet, but they sure have the coaching part figured out with Mike Vrabel. And we know what's going on with Bill Belichick and what's happening with the Tar Heels and what they had last year with Gerard Mayo. But the Patriots have figured out their coaching part. They have Mike Vrabel. 5 games into his new regime, it's pretty clear that Robert Kraft made a great move when he admitted Gerard Mayo was a mistake and switched to Vrabel. It couldn't have been easy. Kraft's ego is bigger than Gillette's new lighthouse, and he probably wanted to honor a commitment that he made to Mayo. But the Patriots owner couldn't do that. He fired Mayo before dinner time after their win over Buffalo, and they brought a member of their family back in Mike Vrabel. Everything's different now. The Patriots have a serious NFL leader, a guy who's been an NFL Coach of the Year. He coached in a conference championship game. He was the head coach of the Titans for 6 seasons. He beat Belichick twice in 4 head-to-head meetings, including a playoff game at Gillette Stadium, which happened to be Tom Brady's last game as a Patriot. Vrabel's authentic, fair, tough, and smart. He loves players the way Bill Parcells loves players. We've seen him mix it up with linemen in practice, get his face bloodied into a skirmish. He sprints down the field on kickoff returns. New England's coach earlier this year says he hates Tuesdays at Gillette because that's the day players don't come into the building. And I kind of like this is Shaughnessy talking, by the way. But he mentions that in the afterglow of the big win against the Bills this week, it doesn't mean the Patriots are going to beat the Saints this Sunday. They're fun to watch again. They have a coach that knows what he's doing. Can the team win a game that they should on the road after a big win in back-to-back weeks? That's the test. Your thoughts at 617-779-0985. I do want to get into the Bruins coming up in just a little bit. And, of course, we'll touch on some Celtics stuff before we hand things over to Grandy and Max. Is that who's here tonight? Grandy and Max will be on the call for us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, so you're not going to want to miss that whatsoever. Let's go to the phones. We got Jeremy in Westport. Jeremy.
Oh, that was quick. What's up, buddy?
What's up, bud?
So, listen, I don't want to sound dumb, Joe. Hey, listen, I love you too, buddy. I love the Sports Hub. So I was just asking your close feeling and stuff like that. I really get confused with the spreads. So, like this week, New Orleans Saints favored by 3.5, right? The spread, okay? I always get wicked confused with that. Please help me out here.
A spread?
So last week, the spread is 3.5. I think it's 3.5.
I saw 3. So what that means is they make lines to get money on both sides, right? So both teams coming off a win.
I understand all that.
Okay.
What I'm confused about. So last week, I'm looking at it right now. I did a 4-pick parlay.
Okay.
New England plus 7.5.
Yeah.
I got the green check mark.
Okay.
Drake May had 230. Check mark.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs, check mark.
Yeah.
Travion Henderson, negative. I understand that.
So
what I get confused on is on the spreads. So this week, Murray, is, I believe, New Orleans is 3.5 plus.
Or plus 3, whatever number. I saw 3, but yeah, if you get 3.5, it's a good number.
This is what I get. I don't want to sound stupid, but this is what I get confused on. So, in other words, New England has to cover. In other words, they got to beat the Saints by 4 or more.
Correct.
All right?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. This is what I'm confused on. So if New England, obviously we won last week, obviously, right?
They won.
So it was plus 7.5. So how did I win that line of the bet?
Because they covered the 7.5
I know, it's like messing
points. They won the game outright.
What is it?
So if you bet a money line, you would have won more money. And I can't bog you down on that. So he doesn't understand. You covered the 7.5 points. You actually covered by 10.5 points. So you won big. If you bet the money line, you would have won more. Email me, Joe Murray at 985thesportup.com. I'll help you out with that. We got Brady. He's in Salem. What's up, Brady?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man.
Hey, yeah, I just got to compliment Drake May, on his performance against the Bills. Is, outstanding by such a young guy to step up and show that leadership role, especially with, Stephon Diggs showing up that game. I got that money line all day, so I'm excited to see how they put up against back-to-back weeks.
What do you think this week, though? The line's been 3 all week. It hasn't moved. You don't know if Christian Gonzalez is going to play. They're a little short at running back. Like, there's a lot there. They have a look ahead next week, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of adversity there, but I think it's going to be a good test for May to see how he reacts to it.
Mm-hmm.
But, my money's still on the Pats for sure. I don't think the Saints
Is it because
can hold up
because you're biased and rooting and a fan, or do you think that or you're looking at it?
I don't know. You could say that, but, Drake May, he really impressed me last game, so I got to see that consistency from him. So, he's got me on his side all day.
All right. Hey, Scott, I mean this in sincerity. I'm not trying to be a jerk. Has Drake May been consistently good? Like, every week he's been good? Because the first week he wasn't. It sounded like it was the McDaniels offense in week 1.
I'll blame that.
But
happy to blame that on this show.
Week 2 was what? Steelers? No, he wasn't good. He didn't play consecutively back-to-back weeks good, right? Week 3, they won in Miami. Was he good? Yeah. And then last week was... Who was next after that? Why am I blanking?
Carolina.
He was good, right? So I guess he'd be really putting together 2 really good... I mean, if he can put together the last game and this game, that's 2 real... I guess if I have to question it, is it really good?
You want him to build on that performance.
Yes.
You want him to continue to look like that guy instead of, reverting back to fumbles and bad turnovers. This is a year for Drake May to build on his good games. You want to see him string them together, not just get up for the Bills and then, revert back to the turnovers against a lowly Saints team.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's just, hey, I love the Pats and bet the -3 and da-da-da-da-da-da.
It feels like Bruins postgame from last night all over again.
I think the safer side is if you're going to bet the game, the safer side to me is the Patriots. I just think there's value on the Saints. It's because we're discounting them. We're discounting the Saints. But in the NFL, though, If you're torn, don't you take the coach and the quarterback? 50-50 yes, guys? 50-50 yes.
50-50 yes.
Matt is in the car. Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's going on? First of all, 2 calls ago, if you don't know how lines work, you shouldn't be betting, but that's one thing. But my question for you, what do you think about Henderson this weekend? I think that kid's something special, and I just want to hear your thoughts and maybe an elevated position on.
A lot of people think that kid's special, huh? Have you seen special from Travion Henderson besides his opening kickoff in preseason game number 1? Have you seen it, Skess?
I would say not in the NFL. You haven't seen it. No. Mm-hmm. Underwhelming, maybe. Limited opportunities. But we had Barth say this week that his touches aren't as limited as maybe we think or they appear. They're actually closer to Stevenson's than you would think. Yeah.
It actually makes it worse.
Yes.
In a way.
Absolutely.
So we should all be open-minded to the fact that the Patriots don't play running backs early. James White was one of the best they ever had. He didn't play right away. Right? Shane Vereen, Ridley.
We all thought that was a Belichick thing. Now we're just going to say that's a Patriots thing?
McDaniels.
There you go.
Because Kaz, he's the only one that you can go to from the past. Right? That you could truly say, oh, they're doing it like that again? Unleash the beast. How about this? Since we're on the topic, because Skaz and I talked about it off the air. So Travion Henderson was the 38th pick in the draft this year?
I believe that's correct.
121 yards rushing, 1 touchdown?
Correct.
Cam Scatterbo is the 105th pick. 98 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns just last night. They just, So drafting a guy in the second round and not using him is kind of pissing me off. Sorry. Unleash the beast. Anything else to add here?
I think you summed it up nicely, Joe.
Okay. We'll go to break because we're up against it. I keep forgetting. We got the Celtics tonight. I'm on a roll. Bruins are too. We'll talk about that more. Your calls on the Patriots as well. And I got a Celtics stop before we get out of here. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
All right, Patriots, they are gearing.
in front. Oh, what a stop by Korpisalo. Looked like he was down and out. Made the save with the paddle of his stick. And now Pastrnak brings the Bruins the other way. With Zacha down the middle. Pasta took the shot.
No.
And it ricochets on an Azar. He's up ahead. He's got Bedard on a breakaway. And another big save by Korpisalo with the glove. Keeps this one going.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Keep forgetting what day it is. What is today's date? The 10th? Jeez. I've been adding stuff to the wrong Slack all day, guys. That was Jonas Korpisalo last night with a big night. You know what day it is, right? You know what day it is?
Slack did seem a little light today. Now that you mention it,
Yeah, if you look at it, it's from. I thought it was the 9th all day long.
I think I've done that a couple times this week as well.
It's Friday all day long. I've been off. All right, here's what I got quickly on the Bees. We were here last night. We worked the game. They won in overtime. It was it's not the greatest games to watch, but man, that third period was great. And the overtime was really good. But we played Korpisalo because although Fraser Minton had the game winner, which is great, you need the secondary scoring. He wasn't hesitant. He actually won the face-off in the defensive zone and just kind of took off, had a guy to his wing, took it himself. So, Fraser Minton deserves all the credit for the game winner last night and probably deserves to be the highlight. To me, it was Korpisalo. He made two incredible saves. The first one was one of the better ones I've seen in a while. The second one, though, was wide open. Connor Bedard, one-on-one, he stoned him. And, that's the type of game you lose. And even Marco Sturm said it after the game. He goes, we didn't deserve to win this one tonight. And he was kind of mentioning the defense and goaltending. I thought Swayman was really good in game one. He was really good. But I don't want to discount those defensemen in front of him. Same thing for Korpisalo last night. His defense helped him. They were short because Hampus Lindholm got hurt again. Who it sounds like it's day-to-day, I guess, is the latest update. They need that defense to be better because the goaltending can do enough when asked. Elias Lindholm continues to score. Middlestat, Janot, they got in on the act. And Charlie McAvoy has been a really good for 2 games. Considering he missed the rest of last season with somewhat of a scary incident, he's been awesome throwing his body everywhere. Bruins are 2-0, everybody. That plus 400 to make the playoffs. If they can keep games 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, 4-3, they're going to the playoffs. They have the defense. They have the goaltending to do it. It's do they have the secondary scoring? And last night, Lindholm got a goal. Back-to-back nights. But it was their secondary scoring and the new guys that helped them out. So, Bruins 2-0. They play again tomorrow against Buffalo. We'll take a quick break. We'll give you a quick thought on the Celtics as we hand things over to Grandy and Max. We'll do that next. I'm Joe Murray, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports.
going to be on right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Grandy and Max are on the call. Toronto. Yeah. Exciting. Hey, real quick, before we get into the Celtics, I just wanted to mention that we hear your requests about the podcast that we have going on. This is guys, I'm making an executive decision. Going forward, just go to YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Joe Murray Show actually has a watch list that you can watch every episode, everything that we do, the shorts, the videos, everything. It's right there on YouTube. And it's uncensored and unedited. So when you say, hey, why is the show up on the podcast? Blah, 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 blah. Just know what I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to advise River and Street Team Joe and intern Mark from Curry and anyone else that's on the night show. I'm going to encourage all of them to say every show is on YouTube, unedited and uncensored. That's it. Anything else to add, Skaz?
I co-sign your message.
Thank you. All right. I've never made an executive decision on the show before. Feel like it was felt powerful, you know? So watch on YouTube. YouTube! Watch list. Joe Murray Show. Uncensored. You get to hear all this stuff that comes in. All right, well, we got the Celtics basketball tonight, everybody. The starting lineup is out. The starting lineup's out. Peyton Pritchard starting at point guard tonight. Anthony Simons in the game. Josh Minot, my guy. Chris Boucher, Bobby Boucher. And Neemias Queta, double big lineup there, Skaz. Actually, they're pretty big tonight if you really look at it. With Minot at the 3, Boucher, and then Neemias Queta. So we're going to see a different look. Last game, we saw some of the other starters. Jaylen Brown had the 21 points in the first quarter there. So, first half, excuse me. So overall, we get a look at the Celtics. The win total is something I haven't really dug into yet. But the number 40, 41, 40, 41, whatever it is, how do you not think over? But then I go back to why did they make the number 40? Wasn't it 60, 61, 62, like the last couple of years? Are the Celtics really going to be 20 games worse than they were a year ago? I'm just not buying it. So right now, without really looking into it and giving you an educated analysis on it, over. Oh, and then there's the report of this. Jason Tatum says he wants to play this season. I would love to see it. I think what's in the best interest of the Boston Celtics is Jason Tatum being healthy and a full go. Not after the season, but if he's back late in the year, I think it would be a very positive for the Boston Celtics. But I know he wants to come back. Maybe they're in it. They should be in it. The Celtics are going to be in it. So I lean over 40 games. I just need to kind of stretch that one out a little bit. But hey, new look lineup tonight. So we got Celtics basketball coming up next. We'll hand things over to Sean Grandy and Cedric Maxwell.